And we're singing. We're singing. Dun, 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 dun. Time to talk. Beauty and the Bitch.
Yeah.
Sweet birthday, baby.
Oh, hey, Queen.
Hey.
It's definitely not my birthday. That was confusing to me, but I appreciate the sweetness.
You're so cute.
Aw, I
love
tried.
that shirt you're wearing.
Thank you. I love this shirt, too.
Oh, but, you know, it's the weirdest thing. Weren't you wearing that yesterday?
Oh, okay. Here's the thing.
Okay.
Now, you may think, because I'm wearing a shirt that you thought I was wearing yesterday, that I've actually worn this same shirt 2 days in a row. Perhaps because, I was sucking dick downtown, and then,
That's definitely what I would just assume was happening.
They try to kidnap you in a black SUV, and then you fight your way out of the SUV, but then you're wearing the same shirt the next day because it was a busy night.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just a normal night downtown. But in fact, I'm caught in a time loop. And I have lived this day over and over and over. And the first 20 or 30 times, I changed shirts for the second day. But then finally, I was like, you know what, Queen? I'm just going to wear this same shirt because I keep dying and being reborn.
Okay.
On the same day.
So let me get this right. You live.
Yeah, I live.
You die.
I do die.
You repeat.
I do repeat. Mm-hmm.
And you're telling me that is the excuse for you wearing the same shirt again, and it's not because you were sucking dick downtown last night.
No. One would think, one would be forgiven for assuming, but no, I'm actually caught in this existential time loop. I think it has something to do with all the drugs I do, but who can say?
As a friend, I am beholden to believe this truth that you're putting
I love that.
forth.
Okay, I love that.
So, oh my God, that's so cool. You're in a time loop!
So I've made like millions of dollars some of the times I've gone through because, I know everything about what's going to happen
Oh, right.
today.
You should remember the lottery numbers.
Yes. And I also, I went on a spree a couple of loops back where I just robbed everybody in the city. I shot like 42 people.
That's excessive.
Yeah. And thank goodness that one didn't stick because I would have been a criminal.
That would have been bad. Prison for life.
But I've kind of calmed down. Now I just wear the same shirt because,
Ooh.
That's my favorite.
Well, let's time warp, since we have that ability, to our podcast.
Oh.
What is that?
I don't know. That's the time warp sound. Yeah, that's the sound you make. And we do the same fingers, too, right?
It's like impossible not to do.
Yeah. So welcome back to another episode of Beauty and the Bitch. I'm Mick.
I'm Morgan. And
Who?
it's me.
Oh.
Probably in a different time warp, I was named Megan.
Oh, yeah. Actually, there was one you were named Dorgan, which was very upsetting.
My parents were drunk.
Yeah, you only had one eye in that one.
Oh, no. It's unfortunate. So we're here today to talk about the Netflix original hit, Russian Doll, which is all about time loops and multiverses and a lot of really big nebulous concepts dwindled down into some lighthearted dramedy that's just fucking delightful. Just fucking delightful.
And I think one of the main reasons it's so delightful is because Natasha Lyonne not only stars, but she also co-created and co-wrote it and directs the finale episode.
Yeah, wrote and directed the finale.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're talking about like the kind of lighthearted but also dark, like what'd you call it?
It's like heavy.
It's
like
a dramedy.
I think I said nebulous.
Tragedy humor.
But yeah, it's like a super dramedy that's like real heavy but also like real lighthearted at times.
Real funny.
And like she tackles like really, really deep-seated like adverse childhood experience topics and stuff with like a sort of lightheartedness that like I feel like we do just as like people who are friends that grew up together. Like we talk about really heavy topics in that sort of way, but then she gets like real deep about it and like things are real. I don't know. I felt like it was relatable in a lot of ways, even though it was about a time loop multiverse.
I dig that. No, I definitely dig it. It's very much it's not like what's that with the time loops and the killer bunny and what's his face when he was young?
Donnie Darko.
It's not like it's actually in some ways kind of similar to Donnie Darko in the sort of larger existential themes and kind of the feel. It's dark the way, but Donnie Darko's confusing and kind of off-putting. Whereas, as you say, Natasha Lyonne, you can tell that this is a show that she had so much input into. I mean, she co-created it because it's relatable, kind of the way she is relatable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like gritty but funny, like harsh but also sweet. And she's so amazing in this role.
And she's like flawed in so many ways.
You'd know a lot about that.
I would. Mhm. No, but it's so great. And I think the best thing about this show is like, I mean, I think it doesn't matter what level you know about the concept going into it. Like, I feel like the trailer that Netflix has, like, kind of tells you a pretty good amount. We probably won't give away too much more than what you just learned from the trailer. So, like, this isn't a super spoiler-heavy episode, so you should be fine.
Yeah.
Also, from all of the promotions, you, like, learn about the guy. What's his name?
Alan.
Alan. So, like, you learn about Alan, even though you don't meet him for several episodes. You know,
he comes in 3rd or 4th episode.
Yeah. So you're going to know that he's like a central character. But it's just one of... Oh my God, I was going somewhere with this. What was I saying? You don't need to know that much about it.
We're not going to spoil
really
too much.
good.
In the trailer, you see most of what it's about. Oh, you're about to say I'm really good looking.
And Meg
Thank you.
so nice.
What? What?
Anyways, but it's one of those shows that like, it's different and it's worth like adding into your queue to just like change it up.
Well, and it's being really well received. You said it has a 99%?
99 on Rotten Tomatoes. That's
great.
Pretty fucking good.
And a lot of people have been talking about, a lot of people's, I mean, when I first heard about it, and a lot of people fell into this, they were like, oh, it's like a modern
Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day. I'd say it's a lot more than that, personally.
It definitely takes that sort of template. I don't know, like what you say. Like, it's that trope of like a Groundhog Day, which you see in pop culture all the time. Like,
Sure.
that's not, like, it has been repurposed and it's a sort of iconic thing, but it does it in like such a different way. Such a different and like beautiful way. And also, it's not here to answer every question. Like,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it brings up a lot of questions as a time loop and multiverse should, but it doesn't answer all of them. And I think that's sort of a reflection of just like how life is. Like, a lot of times you're gonna like have really big ideas and learn new information and have all these things going on, and you'll never get to the bottom of all of that.
Yeah.
And that's fine. You can still just move on from it.
It's so true. It's like the eternal question, does Morgan know her wig is crooked? You know?
And I always just tell people I just do a deep side part because I'm too embarrassed to admit it.
Yeah. Oh, that's so. Don't be embarrassed about your wig. It's very high quality lace front.
you.
Yes. It's a little thin. I mean, you know. But...
I know.
No, it is true. This is, well, again, I hadn't thought of this until we started recording, but again, kind of like Donnie Darko. There are a lot of questions. Just be prepared now. It's not all going to be answered tied with a pretty bow. But like you, I prefer that because that's the way life is. You know,
Well,
things
and
don't get tied up. Like
And
that.
it gives you either room for interpretation for like different pieces, which I love out of pop culture, like a book or a TV or a movie. Like, I love room for self-interpretation. And then it also like leaves room for big conversations about that topic. So it's almost fucking smarter to do that.
Absolutely.
It's smart to leave open ends. Yeah.
So people can put themselves in it and read it
Yes.
however they want to.
It's us.
Well, we've talked about Natasha Lyonne. She pulled this series together, created it with Amy Poehler.
Oh, dream team.
Which is interesting to me because you know what? I wouldn't have guessed that. I wouldn't have guessed that Amy Poehler had a big hand in this show. It doesn't feel like a lot of other Amy Poehler productions to me, personally.
It's definitely different from like a Parks and Rec.
Oh, yeah. Or like any of her movies, really.
Baby Mama.
Baby
Ooh,
Mama.
oh!
Yeah, very different feel. But in addition to creating and writing and directing the finale episode, Natasha Lyonne is, I think this is her... Ooh, this is a big thing I'm about to say because I do love her. I think this might be the best acting I've ever seen her put on the screen.
She did such a good job. And also, she notoriously plays a really excellent side character. And this is like her moment to be like a lead actress in the thing. And also, she carried it so well.
So well.
Yeah,
so well.
She was so good.
When she needs to be funny, she's funny. When she needs to be sexy, she's sexy. And when she needs to be emotional and when the trauma needs to show, it does. I mean, she brought that shit to the screen.
It is incredible.
For this show. Yeah. She's just amazing. Most people probably know Natasha Lyonne from Orange is the New Black. She plays Nikki Nichols. Is that her name? Nikki Nichols?
Sure, that sounds right.
One of the women in jail. Most people know her from that. Did you know she also voices Smokey Quartz in Steven Universe? Did you know that?
Well, I don't even know what that is.
You don't know Steven Universe?
No.
The fuck, Morgan? It's an animated show that's really, really queer and especially genderqueer friendly.
Oh, nice.
It's a show for kids, but it's gained a huge following with young, like, liberal social liberals,
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, really beloved by queer people. And then she also plays Suzette, the motel pillow in Big Mouth.
Okay.
Which we'll return to later.
She has a great voice, so it makes sense that she would be an excellent voice actress.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%.
So unique.
She's one of my favorite actresses working today, I think. I just love everything she does. And I thought she was a lesbian, but I think I read she's married to a man. Which I was a little disappointed, but that's okay.
To a man.
A man. That's okay. I can forgive her that.
I think it's great to say that, like, she's one of your favorite actresses working, because I also think she's one of the most original people. Like that's why she's such a great side character, because she has like such a vibe. Like, she's just so unique. There's not like 3 other actresses that could replace her in this role. Like, it is very unique to her, and she has her own thing going on. Whereas, like, you know, like a Katie Holmes could be replaced by a Maggie Gyllenhaal. They're just like an interchangeable person.
Yeah, and I would say please do that. Never hire Katie Holmes again. I'm so over it.
Agreed. And just in case we're wondering, that is indeed what they did with Batman.
Oh, yeah.
They just replaced a Katie Holmes with a Maggie Gyllenhaal. They were like, you won't even notice. And they were kind of right.
Yeah, we didn't.
We were like, why is she better in this one?
If Natasha Lyonne, you know, made this show, but then for whatever reason couldn't star in it, can you think of anyone? It wouldn't be the same, because as you say, no one could do that. But it needs to be someone kind of tough.
And quirky.
And funny.
Yes. And, like, not traditionally, like, gorgeous in, like, the mainstream ways, even though she is.
That's true.
Yeah, she needs to be, like...
She's a bit bohemian. She's got like a bohemian look. What about, now this is maybe just a bad idea, but what about like Maya Rudolph, who is traditionally beautiful, but
I think she's, not to age her out of things, but I feel like she's a little old for this particular role.
Because this whole show does take place on Natasha Lyonne's 36th birthday. Or not. What's her character's name? I know it. Nadia.
Yeah.
You know, Natasha Lyonne, I found this out in the research. She names all of the characters she writes Nadia because her favorite figure skater from the 80s was named Nadia, Russian name. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, so she, like, over and over when she does characters, she always names them Nadia, which I was like, that's so Natasha Lyonne of you.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's really cute. But I do love Maya Rudolph.
I do love Maya Rudolph, too. No, what about, no. What if, who did the New Girl? What's that?
Oh, yeah.
What's her name?
Shit. Zoe
Deschanel.
Yes.
Now, it would be different... But I think she could maybe pull off this kind of role if she could act it.
Interesting. What about? I mean, maybe.
It would be different.
It'd be a different
character. It'd be a different character. But
there's this other Zoe. We just were
Zoe
talking.
Kravitz?
No, but she's gorgeous.
I love her.
We were just talking about Zoe. She was in The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, and somebody in the New York Times suggested that she get nominated for an Oscar, but she didn't. Zoe.
Does she play in The Ballad of Buster Scruggs? Is she the one?
Yeah, that girl.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, her.
We were just talking about her. I don't remember her
also
name.
was in The Big Sick. And she's sort of and she was also in this other movie I saw with Daniel Radcliffe that was like an indie film. And everything I've seen her in, I've liked her a lot. And every role I've seen her play is like pretty different. I feel like she's of an age... And she sort of has a vibe, too, that she could pull that off.
Zoe Kazan.
Zoe Kazan, yeah.
I can see that. Yeah. I mean, I can't think about the character she plays in The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, because that's set in the West, and she plays a very buttoned-up character. But, yeah, I could definitely see that.
Or somebody a little coarser.
What about she plays the green skin woman in Guardians of the Galaxy. Zoe Saldana?
Yes. Are we just all in on Zoe's?
We're doing Zoe
Saldana.
Saldana.
Saldana could do this.
I think she would be amazing.
She might be like a little too pretty.
I think Natasha Lyonne's gorgeous.
I do too.
I think they ugg her up. I mean, ugg her up, quote unquote. She's still beautiful in the series, but like
so
when you see Natasha Lyonne in real life, I'm like, she's a star.
Yeah.
She's got that level of beauty, you know?
That could be interesting. It's really hard because like there's not a ton of people that have that like outright grit that Natasha has.
You're so right.
You know, she just has like something.
Well, and as you say, that's what her career is built on. She's such an individual. She's so unique, you know? Wow. Well, she's certainly amazing in this. What did you think of her sort of second, Charlie Barnett, who plays Alan, who she meets around episode 3? We think. Actually, never mind. That's a spoiler. Never mind. I was about to spoil something, but I stopped myself.
I know what you're gonna say. Yeah. Well, he was a surprise to me to be introduced. Like, I thought that was a great, like, oh my god, we have this new person to talk with now. But also I did not like him at all at first, and he like grew on me. Like at first I was like, they're so mismatched as far as like caliber of people, but then like as their stories unfolded, I was like, they're very, very different people, and they're supposed to be.
Yeah, oh, exactly. Yeah. I think in a real way, Alan and Nadia are exact opposites. She's too freewheeling. She's too free. She isolates herself. She does a ton of drugs. She, has that life. And then Alan plays a character that is not free enough is so afraid and uptight. So rigid. Yes.
Yeah, very rigid.
But the interesting thing about them is, as different as they are, they're both self-destructive. Mm-hmm. And that's what kind of binds them together, and what they have to kind of like overcome together, you might say. If they do in fact overcome it, which is a question maybe. Do you know that Charlie Barnett, who plays Alan, I thought he looked familiar, but then I looked through and I haven't seen anything he's been in. But he's going to be in the upcoming Tales of the City, which is based on the short stories by Armistead Maupin, who I've talked about a lot. Yes. Yeah, I love those short stories. It's a queer show. Or, well, there are a lot of queer characters in it. So I'm interested to know who he'll play. I didn't see it when I looked on IMDb. But he's going to be on our screens again soon.
I was going to say, his career is definitely taking off, too, after the success of this show.
Oh, yeah.
So that's exciting for him to be cast as, like, without much of a career behind him.
Yeah, I mean, he had, there were something. You may have known him for something. Let me check. Did you, hot or not? Charlie Barnett.
I think not.
I think not too, though. His face I found really attractive.
Traditionally,
but I don't
yeah,
know.
But like not for me.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I was like, yeah, you're attractive, but you're not my type. Oh, some hot pictures of him online though. Let me see. Let me just check out. Yeah, he's in Chicago Fire, something I've never heard of. Valor, Russian Doll, and Secrets and Lies. I haven't heard of any of those.
I think Chicago Fire sounds like something on NBC or something.
Yeah.
Like, that's definitely a thing I feel like I've heard about.
Yeah,
but it's like not my jam.
It's ongoing since 2012.
Yeah.
Jesus.
People love shit like that.
Yeah, I'm not into any of those fucking shows. I don't give a shit. Okay. What about, were there any other characters that you loved or any other actors that you loved from this?
Oh my God. Her best friend who throws her a birthday party. Maxine. Yes. The actress Greta Lee.
That's her
name. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maxine is like a precious angel baby and like such a good friend. Yes. And like, I felt like their chemistry was very like real. Like sometimes friendship is portrayed and it's very like forced, or like you don't buy their connection. But like, seeing them together, I was like, yes, I understand how these characters are friends, even though they also are like pretty different people. And I like appreciated all of the moments they had. Like every moment that Natasha would like say something disappointing to her, because, you know, of course she's reliving the same day and Maxine doesn't know any different. So Natasha's like, this is just what we're doing now. Yeah. And Maxine would just be like, you're a fucking bitch. Yeah. And they would like have a moment, but then she would be like, love you, bye. And I was just like, what a friend. What a true friend.
Yes, yeah. A true friend. Yeah. I agree with you. I thought that, besides the two stars who are both amazing, I thought that Greta Lee was the standout in this show.
She's so cute.
I loved her.
Yeah.
Almost immediately, I was like, that woman.
Sweet
I love
birthday,
her.
baby.
Yes, which is how pretty much every episode starts.
Yeah.
That's how she greets her friend. But yeah, so many times, like throughout the series, okay, consciously avoiding spoilers here. Throughout the series, Natasha asks many things of her friends.
Yes.
And they do get crazier and crazier, these requests, because she's, reliving the same day, trying to figure out why she's doing it. So she really, everything she can possibly do to figure it out, she does. I'll say that. And her friends, both Maxine and also, what's her name? Lizzie, who I also loved.
Loved her, yeah.
Loved her.
She
We
was
get to her.
really funny.
They forgive her. They go along with her. When she says something crazy.
Which she does every 5 minutes to them because they don't live in her reality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're so
they're
such good friends.
They're like, okay, you want to do this weird crazy thing? We'll do it. No questions asked.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
we'll
no
leave this
questions
giant
asked.
party, leave all these people in this apartment, and we'll go with you to the wherever, deli or whatever.
Yeah.
They're just, I love
They're good
seeing
friends.
really true representations of friendship.
Me too.
Because you don't, we talk about this a lot. I feel like many representations of friendship that I see in movies and TV, I'm like, y'all shouldn't be friends.
Right.
Like, you're both bad friends to
it's
each other.
toxic or unrealistic.
Which is, I guess toxic friendships are a realistic thing, but I don't think it's something we should, be shooting for,
Totally.
Speaking of toxic friendships, Greta Lee was in Girls. Maxine was in Girls for a season, I guess, or something.
I'm not sure who she was in there, even though I did watch all of that.
She wasn't one of the main ones.
Yeah.
She must have been a bit part. I only watched the first season. And then she was in a couple seasons of New Girl, starring, Zooey Deschanel.
One of the Zoes.
One of the mean Zoes. So I've decided I'm not watching Girls because I hate what's her name? Lena Dunham?
Dunham? Oh, you hate Lena
detest.
Dunham?
Detest
Ooh.
Lena Dunham.
Okay.
For a variety of reasons, which I'm not going to get into right now. But I think I'm going to binge New Girl because I want to fucking see Greta Lee in it. And also I like that show. I think it's funny. And all the guys in there are sexy.
They are.
Oof.
That's a fact. I was into New Girl for a hot minute, and then at some point I gave up, and then 4 more seasons happened, and I was like, whoa.
Is it still ongoing?
I don't think
No, I
so.
think it just recently finale, within the last couple of years.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Okay, and then Rebecca Henderson, who plays Lizzie, the other friend who's a lesbian, is so fucking funny.
She was really familiar.
She looked familiar to me, too. By the way, I should say, I think she's bisexual, not just a straight lesbian, but she's queer. She was in Westworld. She played a character in Westworld. Okay, who did she play? Because I read the name and I was like, I don't know who that is.
She looks like she's one of the lab techs, maybe.
Oh, that makes sense because she had a real person type name.
A real person name. She wasn't like Floozy McDonald.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, okay, she's one of the robots. And then she was also in an episode of Orange is the New Black, which is where I think I remember her from.
We got several Orange is the New Black crossovers.
Yes. I assume Natasha Lyonne brought in those people. Worked with them on Orange is the New Black and then said, please come into my new show.
Makes total sense too. And also all those people are really great actresses.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, yeah. Oh, yeah, who's the, I didn't like her in this, but, what's her name? The other woman from Orange is the New Black.
The grad student.
Yes, who is Charlie Barnett's fiance. Full cast. Why can't I get to full cast? Why is life so hard?
I have no idea what her name is, but I don't know if you like her in Orange is the New Black.
I do in Orange is the New Black. Yeah.
I feel like this character she played feels like a typecasty thing for her, though. She's an overachieving, stuck in a dead end situation, committed sort of girl who's maybe if I'm destructive, I can change things. I don't know. I felt like it made sense for her to play that role.
She plays, her name is Dasha Polanco. She's a Dominican American actress, and she plays Dia Diaz
in Orange is the New Black. Yeah.
I love her in Orange is the New Black. I do not think she pulls off this character.
Interesting.
This grad student character. She's very, very wooden to me. And I get the feeling when watching this show, because I really do like her as an actress, I have to say, though, I'm not certain that she has a lot of range. And I got the feeling throughout watching Russian Doll that she hated her character. You know what I mean? It's like
Well, her character did suck.
Her character, yeah, I mean, yeah. But, you know, when you play a villain, though, which she's not necessarily a villain, but if you play a villain, you can't approach it as if that person's a villain, right? We know this because we're actors. But you have
like,
to
you
find...
are the star of your own show.
Yes, because everyone is the
Always.
star of their own narrative, and no one really ever sees themselves as a villain. They're always a hero, maybe an anti-hero. And the way she played this character, who's a relatively minor character, I felt like she fucking hated her and thought she was a bitch. That's the way she played her. And I was like, no, you can't. That's not good. She was the worst part of the show for me.
Interesting.
Uh-huh.
What did you... Well... Who else did you think did a good job with their roles that they played?
I loved both Elizabeth Ashley as Ruth, her, like, kind of surrogate mom.
Yes, and what is she from? She's so familiar.
Well, now she's worked widely
She's
and
prolific.
hugely. She's been in a lot of different things. She's actually most famous for soap operas and for on the stage bringing Tennessee Williams like Southern Belle characters to life. She
Holy
originated
shit.
a bunch of those roles. I looked through and like she was in Stagecoach. If you ever saw that movie,
I don't think
most
so.
of her movies I haven't seen, but I also knew her face.
Yeah,
she's everywhere.
She's very like familiar.
Yeah.
She was incredible.
She
I
was
thought she was
fabulous.
amazing, and also in flashbacks, the younger version of her.
Oh yes.
What I think that whole character and the like throughway from like flashbacks to like what we got to see on the screen was great.
I
think
love
she
that
was
character.
Really good.
Yeah. Both the character that Natasha Lyonne plays and the character that Elizabeth Ashley plays, they're such New Yorkers, you know? Both of them are like New York stereotypes. Like Ruth, who by Elizabeth Ashley, she's like the New York like grand dame. You know, she's chain smoking, raspy voiced.
So
You can tell,
raspy.
Yeah, and very rich. You can tell she's super wealthy, but like she doesn't feel wealthy. I don't know. She's very like down to earth. And Natasha Lyonne's very much like that grungy, like loud, brash New York stereotype. The funny thing is, I think that Natasha Lyonne's actually a male New Yorker stereotype. Like I actually heard her talk about it this way.
She's
like,
very masculine.
She has a masculine feel. Like in the 1970s, what we would have thought of as like the male New York stereotype is pretty much what Natasha Lyonne always plays. Like kind of caustic, biting, harsh, raspy, in a hurry all the time. You know, like that's pretty much what she always plays.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
It's definitely interesting for like a woman, and I think that's why she's so unique, is that like a lot of people cannot pull that vibe off. And she just does it so effortlessly.
Yeah, she's fabulous. And then probably besides Maxine, my favorite character is Nadia's mom, played by Chloe Sevigny, who I adore. I love Chloe Sevigny. What did you think of her, though?
It's hard, you know, because you always like compare your life to art, and like to come from a home with like a shitty mom. It was like
hard to watch.
It's like hard to watch like other like women being shitty moms to like little girls. So it's like it's just like a lot, but like I think she did a great job. Like at the character and the actress, like she fucking crushed that role. And I think the little girl that played like a young Nadia was really good, because like as we all know, kid actors are real hit or miss. And I felt like she really captured the nuance of like, I know my mom's a shitty mom, but she's still my mom, which is like kind of a sweet spot for like a young kid to like articulate. So I think that their interactions were really good. And then also with the other character, who I'm terrible with remembering names.
Which one?
Her other mom figure.
Ruth.
And also like when in the flashbacks with like mom, little Nadia, and Ruth, like those were really powerful. I think.
Yes. Yeah. You know what? I'm so sorry. We didn't even consider the fact that would touch you emotionally. It didn't do anything for me, except I was like, oh, I just love her. Yeah. But I can see why that would.
What do you know her from though? She wasn't familiar to me.
Chloe Sevigny, she was in Boys Don't Cry. That's where I first saw
that.
her. She plays the
I just
love
blocked
interest.
out most of that because it was very sad.
Traumatic? Yes, very
sad.
much so. She is really famous for Big Love. She was the second wife in Big Love.
I never saw that, but that was on my list. Is that worth watching?
I like that show.
Okay.
At least the first couple seasons I was super into.
Interesting. I always thought it was intriguing.
I love Sister Wives. I also watched that Sister Wife reality TV show. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
I think it's called Sister Wives. Or maybe it's called something else, but it's like about a real Mormon polygamist who has 3 wives.
Wait, but I thought that was illegal.
No. Or yes, it is. It was like yes, because that's a whole thing. Is because of the show, people find out about it, and then in later seasons,
the Sister Wives or the Big Love one.
The Sister Wives one, the real life one, and then they have to leave. They have to leave their community, and they can't all live in the same house. They have to buy separate houses. Yeah, there's a lot of drama with that. But they're such a lovely family. I mean,
interesting.
I don't give a shit about polygamy. Frankly, it doesn't bother me one way or the other.
It doesn't super bother me, except that the concept that it's a man with multiple wives and
yes, if
we're why can't a woman get lots of dick?
Amen.
Where are all the dicks at?
Yes. Whatever androgy. Is that the opposite of polygamy?
Oh my god, I have no idea.
Androgy?
See, I didn't even know it was a word because I just felt like no one cared.
I may have just made it up, but I agree. I think if we should make polygamy legal, and whatever the female equivalent should also be legal.
I also, to be clear, don't understand most of the nuances of polygamy. So, if the women are happy and healthy and, if it's a good thing, I think that's fine. But, I think the general idea is that, they're brainwashed into thinking this is fine. And, that might not be true, but that's the general perception.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, that's a whole thing in both Big Love and, to a much lesser extent, in that reality TV show. Well, we got off on a tangent here, but this is interesting.
That's fine. This is important.
In both cases, they both escape from the cult, essentially. The real out there, they're all Mormon, the real out there Mormons who are much more cultish and scary. It's especially a big subplot in Big Love because it's dramatized, Ooh. But yeah, in both cases, they kind of moved away and said no. And let me be clear, I'm not okay with any of those cults. I'm okay with individual families, but when you've got 50 people and, the 3 husbands have all 50 of the women as wives, no, we're talking and you live out in the desert? And you be fucking kids and
you
shit?
don't even have an H&M out there, y'all.
No, how you gonna buy?
Up? Yeah. How you look cute?
Where you buy your work clothes?
Girl, who's gonna cut your hair?
Girl, they cut it themselves with a bowl. Oh. No, but Chloe Sevigny, and you know what's interesting about Chloe is she's a bit of an it girl, like a fashionista sort of socialite. And do you know Nylon Magazine? That magazine Nylon?
Not really.
It's a women's or young women's magazine. I used to subscribe to it because it's such good fashion. And she actually, I think that magazine was founded in the 90s. She was an early intern there. And while she was working there as an intern is when she began to be like an it girl. And she was well known. I read a whole story about Nylon years ago.
She was like an Instagram influencer before that existed?
Yes, very much that. Yes.
Good for her.
Yes. She's just fabulous. I would love to meet her someday. She seems so sweet, kind of pretentious in a way that I find adorable, and very worldly. She's really famous for name dropping. She's really famous for name dropping.
She's like, my boyfriend, Steven Spielberg.
Exactly. Well, it's more kind of like, yes, I was at a dinner party. We were eating
I was with Barack last night.
Yes. But it'll always be like the most random people. So she'll be like, I was at a dinner party with Natasha Lyonne, the dog who played Wishbone in the PBS series. and then who's a politician? Dick Cheney.
Bernie Sanders.
Okay, yeah, either one. And then you're like,
the Wishbone dog and
party.
Bernie Sanders are legit real life BFFs.
Oh, they get along so well. Yeah. No one gets along with Dick Cheney.
But they don't like the Reading Rainbow collectively. They're not into it.
Racist.
Yeah, they are.
I think that's racist.
Probably.
Anyway, so I love Chloe Sevigny, and I think she plays the mom very well. And the mom subplot is a really important part of Russian Doll because how can I, spoiler free, because it is. It's important because it is. That's all I'm going to say. And throughout the series, you get to see more and more of that childhood and how it affected the Nadia character as an adult.
Well, yes. Oh, that's so true. And also, I don't think it's a spoiler to say that, a big subplot of this show is dealing with your shit. No matter when the shit happens in your life, if you have shit to deal with, you have got to deal with your shit. And I think that's a really big theme. And like, of course, like interactions with your parents as children, especially if you had adverse experiences, you have to deal with that shit at some point. And whether or not you get stuck in a time loop or a multiverse, like at some point you have to confront that shit, because you cannot keep burying it deep, deep inside of you. You can't.
No, because you get impacted bowels and then you die.
And then you die.
Girl, that's a horrible way to die.
It is, though.
Poop poison.
This is in the trailer, so I don't think it's a huge spoiler to say this, but when Nadia meets Alan, they are gonna die. Like something bad is happening and they're gonna die. And she looks at him and she's like, didn't you get the memo? We're gonna die. And he's like, oh, it's okay. I die all the time. And I felt like it was such a moment. Like it was so like pivotal. And like, even though it was in the trailer, when it happened in the show, I was like, oh, this is changing things.
I thought something they did very well with this show was almost every episode ended on some kind of complication, right? So that was the end of an episode.
Yes.
When he was like, I die all the time. And she's like, me too. And
she was like,
end of the
same.
episode, right? And then there's another time where she's walking through her life that she lives over and over. And at the very end of the episode, it focuses in on flowers. And you see these flowers wilting, like, very quickly. And, like, that's another complication. And I just thought the way it was written was so smart. It really very bingeable. It's a very bingeable show.
Oh, absolutely.
Really hard not to binge it, actually.
And, like, I actually don't even know if the episodes were, like, 45 minutes or an hour, but it went by really quickly because it was such an engaging experience to be a part of. Like it just moves really quickly. I felt like there were almost like no slow moments, and like at almost every turn you were getting new information that you were like, it's a lot to keep up with.
Oh yeah. And
it was paced really well, and like it was just executed in such a way that I think it's even rewatchable. And I'm not a big fan of, like, I don't rewatch a lot of TV because, like, there's so much TV to watch. Like, who's got time to go back? But this is a show that I feel like if I rewatch it, I would get something different out of it the second time.
I completely agree. Well, it's a really detail-oriented show, too. I have a feeling if I was to rewatch it, I would see all kinds of shit in the background that I missed the first time through. I think it's very rewatchable. I will tell you, this is one kind of spoiler, but it's like a negative spoiler. It's something that doesn't happen. Okay, so I think that's kind of fair. I love that Nadia and Alan are not a romantic couple.
Me too.
I love that. Because throughout the entire series, they have various interactions. And I was like, they have no romantic chemistry. Please don't make them a couple.
Right, because that would be unfortunate.
It would be, it would
and
be
that's
horrible.
Like a standard, like, we're forcing this.
Exactly. You see that so often in TV shows, And I was so pleased. I think this show really understands friendship really, really well. It's one of the kindest and most real what's the word that means you see it on TV? Not personification. Example. I'll just say example.
Yeah.
One of the kindest and most real examples of adult friendships that I've seen in a long time on TV.
Yeah, I think I can agree with that. And also because her with her, like, already established friends, like, that's a really great example. But then also her, like, meeting another person that's in a vulnerable state and them together being able to be like, we're gonna grow out of this problem together. And, like, it's not about sex and it's not about, like, our future. It's just about, like, us getting over our shit and getting to a place where we personally are okay, but, like, leaning on each other to get there is, like, really important and really powerful. And, like, so few women and men get to be friends in pop culture. Like, and when it happens, it almost always, like, ends up with them being like, you're the one that got away, or like, it was always you, which is like an eternal annoyance, which is why I will never ship a Harry Hermione romance, which is why you could tell me all day what J.K. Rowling said she wished she had done, but she didn't. It didn't happen. It happened this other way. And why can't Harry and Hermione just be friends? Is what it all comes back to.
Yeah. I mean, completely. I think, you know what? I have nothing to add to that. You said it so perfectly. I agree with everything you just said.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Because we're really good friends. I will say, though, I don't know if this is kind of a spoiler, but I just really want to say, I think that they handled whether or not they should have sex in a really good way. Because, like, even between friends that are really comfortable with each other, like, I've just been in a relationship for so fucking long that I've never had the opportunity to have a person who's my friend that I, like, casually have sex with. But, like, I feel like when you're in such a place with a person where you're like, it's not about that, but, like, maybe we should fuck anyway, is, like, an interesting thing that I feel like is really real, probably between men and women, because, like, not being romantically involved is one thing, but, like, sex and, like, sexual tension and, like, emotions and, like, being horny is just, like, a very real part of being a human person. So I also think it's really beautiful if, like, friends can do that in a not messy way. If they can do that in a not messy way.
Yeah, I was going to say, because
that's commendable.
I have various times attempted friends with benefits, with men, obviously. And it never, I think it's wrong for me. The boys I was with, maybe it was fine for them, but I don't like that.
Also fair.
I don't like that. I don't like that on, like, a deep reptilian brain level. Like, I think I'm fine with it, but then I freak out for no reason. You know what I mean? And that's when, after a couple times of that happening, I was like, girl, you just need to let this go. Like, this is not going to happen for you.
Not to harp on Harry and Hermione, but I feel like if Ron wasn't in the picture, I still don't want them together.
No, she'd be with Crumb. I think.
She fucking would.
Yeah.
But I think that Harry and Hermione would make great friends with benefits in their later 18 and up years because I'm not a creepy person.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, you know Ron's going to die early, so I bet their old, saggy bodies are going to be rubbed against each other a few times.
Probably, like, at least once or twice. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with an old, saggy body, by the way.
We're all going to get there.
Hey, Morgan's already there.
Not me. I'm going to get a boob job in 10 years.
Oh, me too.
I'm going to just let them keep getting lower and lower and lower, and then I'm just pop it right back up.
I love it.
You're just ashamed. It's my life plan.
You're not going to put anything in.
No, I'm just going to keep it tight. Girl, there's so much already there.
I know. I was like,
that's
a shocker. You know, one of my favorite people on earth, Michelle Visage, is getting a breast reduction, like right now, right this second. And it's because she has what's that called where your body autoimmune deficiency disorder of some sort. I forget. She has a couple, actually, supposedly. Well, I mean, she says so, and I believe her. But she was like, the reason that nothing works, like, I changed my diet, I do these things, and blah, blah, blah. The reason it's nothing working is because the poison is inside my chest. And her body, her theory is that, because, you know, she's famous for huge boobies. And she's had them since the early 90s. Huge. Well, she was a C cup. Now she's like a double D or something. But she was like, look, the reason I've been feeling sick and I haven't been able to get over it is because my body is reacting to the silicone that's inside of me.
Could be.
Yeah. Yeah. So she's getting them taken out and tightened, like right now, like right this second.
I bet that'll feel liberating.
I hope so. RuPaul was not, I mean, they're old friends. So I think he was trying to do that thing where your friend says what you're afraid of just so you'll say it. But he was like, are you afraid that without your boobs you won't be, because she's so famous for her breasts and her chest in general and showing it off. He was like, are you afraid what that's going to do to your career? And I was like, that's kind of a rude thing to say, RuPaul, because, like, well, anyway, now I've gone off on a tangent, but I was just, every once in a while RuPaul says things, everybody knows it's about RuPaul. He's a little bit of a cunt. I mean, you know, but I mean, why wouldn't he be? He's a diva also. You get to a certain age, a certain level of fame, that's your prerogative. But I was like, don't say that to Michelle. Don't put in her head the seed of doubt. Aww. But I think what he was doing is he knew she was afraid of that. Because who wouldn't be afraid of that, I guess? I don't know.
She'll be fine, though. I mean, this far along in her career.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if she got famous yesterday because she had big tits and she was like, I'm getting rid of them, that would be a problem, but we're deep.
Yeah, exactly. And she's like, she judges, like 2 different reality TV shows in Europe, and she went on Celebrity Big Brother and came in like 2nd or 3rd.
She's fine.
And
also,
yeah, she's fine.
How does one win a Big Brother show? Like, what is the objective? I have no concept.
The audience votes you. The viewing audience.
They're just like, you're my favorite person?
Oh, is that really true? Actually, I don't know, my queen. Actually, I'm not going to bullshit.
I don't even know what that show is about.
I think they vote each other off, actually.
So she was like the next to last person in the house?
Yes. Okay. I think so. Or maybe she came in 3rd. I don't watch Big Brother. I've never been into that. I don't know.
I just don't understand the concept.
And, you know, she was on Celebrity Big Brother UK, and she was on with that ugly little gay troll man who does the
Mick Parker.
Morgan.
Teed it
Well,
up! Knock it out the park.
this is the last night of your life, but no, that little man who does all the online gossip, Nick Perez.
Oh, Perez Hilton?
Yes, Perez Hilton. And oh my God, they had a lot of fights.
Ooh.
Yes, and you know what?
I do love drama.
He tried to call her out because she's such an advocate for queer people. And he was like, you're not queer. You're not part of our community. You should be quiet. And she was like, I will not be quiet. I don't need to be queer to advocate for you. And maybe I'm not advocating for you, you little well, she didn't say that, but more or less she said, maybe I'm not advocating for you. I'm advocating for all the other people. You can go fuck right off, essentially. And I was like, yes. And then he got sent home too, so it was good.
Well, there you go.
Okay, by the way, though, I have a question about back to Russian Doll. We took a nice little journey around the world there.
Like we do.
I feel like, without any spoilers, this story does kind of get tied up. It kind of ends.
Yes.
So, is season 2 going to be new people?
Great question. So there is talks of season 2. People are asking for it. I don't know if it's like 100% confirmed that it's happening, but I saw some speculation online that either what they could do is explore an alternate universe. So there are all these multiverses as part of the theory, right? Because again, we don't have all the answers. That maybe at the end of every day when they die, right? Nadia dies at the end of every day until she doesn't, or whatever. She has this whole other life. Like, there are all these people that are affected by her death, like Maxine and Ruth have to live on without her. So there's a thought of exploring an alternate timeline and seeing what happens to those people. And there's also this unknown concept of what happens, like what causes this loop for them, and does another person in that universe at some point experience that loop? So there's a lot of wiggle room with the storylines of what we already know. Additionally, that would make it sort of like an anthology series, right? If Maxine was the star of the next season and maybe she finds herself in like a time loop or some sort of situation, or even Ruth. I mean, there's like a lot of room to tell other people's stories in this thought.
Well, know, I'm really I think that sounds interesting and doable.
I'd watch it.
I was talking to Sarah Pants about it because she also watched her from
Hi,
Sarah.
baby.
Hi, Sarah. We
We
love
love
you.
you.
We love you. And Sarah was like, maybe they're going to do like an American Horror Story style. The next season
That kind
is
of
just a new
anthology.
story, you know? And maybe the same actors playing different characters, maybe totally different actors, but still written by Natasha Lyonne and Amy Poehler and everything. But
Interesting.
which I think would be really cool. Because I do kind of think, to be honest, as much as I love these characters, at the end of this season, without spoilers, I'm kind of like, okay, this story I'm done with.
The story wrapped up, for sure. Like,
Yeah.
what we know, even though there are, like, big questions
There are still big
unanswered,
questions,
but, like,
sure.
the story is done. That's an intriguing thing because American Horror Story is very unique in their success with that sort of format. And surely it's been done in some other show, but it's not popular enough that, like, I specifically know about it. Do you know of any other shows that follow a similar format?
Not off the top of my... I know there are some, but not off the top of my head, no.
So it'd be number one, fascinating for Netflix to explore that as a dramedy, because American Horror Stories is like, it's got a very different vibe, obviously, than the Russian Dolls vibe.
Sure.
So, like, what an interesting thing to do. Because also, since they're already playing with the multiverse, they could easily just pull out another story and be like, this is another version of who these people are. And it could be a totally different story.
I think that would be... Well, whatever it is, I hope that Greta Lee Maxine is in it.
Right. She's so good.
I would love to see her get to be the star next season or something. I think she could totally rock it. I love her so much.
Yeah, she was really good.
Oh.
Speaking of girls, my favorite character in Girls, Shoshana. I had, like, never seen her in anything else besides Girls, and I recently started watching Parenthood as, like, my background TV show. It's a show that Lauren Graham from Gilmore Girls was in after Gilmore Girls, and I, like, never saw it.
Fascinating.
So I was like, I'll check this out. Anyways, and Shoshana was in it, and I was like, oh, it's a little baby girl.
You know who my favorite character is in Girls, right? It's not a girl. Spoiler alert.
Adam Driver.
It's Adam Driver in those tidy whities.
Yeah, he's... I hate that character so much. But
I don't care. I don't give a shit.
See, it's so interesting because he, to me, is like just as bad or worse in a lot of ways than the Lena Dunham character.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, well, I don't like Lena. It has nothing to do with her character.
You just don't like her as a person.
I don't like her as a person.
That's fair.
Yeah. No, the character, I mean, I've said 1,000 times, they're all horrible people and girls.
They are.
I stand beside that.
That's their thing. When people are like, I don't like those people, it's like, well, yeah. Like, they're not likable.
And girls and boys. You're right. Adam Driver's horrible.
They're
Andrew
all trash.
Rannells, horrible.
They're
like,
all
all of them. I hate them all.
Shoshana's the, like, best trash version. Like, she's the best trash.
And even she is
She's still trash.
She's still trash.
But she's, like, really entertaining.
Yeah. Well, anyway. Okay. Well, I am so excited for season 2 of the show. I hope it's happening. I assume Netflix
loves money, so there's no reason they wouldn't explore
and
this.
everyone's been a Twitter about it.
Yeah.
So
99% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
They're gonna
That's
give
like
the people
my
what they
rating
want.
on Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, and it might be like, season 1 of Stranger Things was wildly popular, and then I think people didn't love season 2 as much, and that's always like a chance with, going out on a limb with a really different sort of TV show. So I think they should just try, and this time next year we'll be the judge of whether or not we think it's great.
I'm super excited, especially, Orange is the New Black, this next season coming out is the last one. And so it makes me so happy that Natasha Lyonne, I want all of them to move on and have great careers. I fucking love that show.
Right.
But it makes me so happy that she especially is already set up, has another series, and she's fucking in charge of it, to a very real degree.
Yes. She's doing great.
It makes me so happy. I love her.
Yeah.
So, Morgan, what else is making you happy right now? You got something to plug?
Yes. So y'all know your girl loves trashy YA novels.
Oh, yeah.
So I read one recently that I'm really like behind the boat on this because it's like 4 or 5 novels deep into the series. But I got into Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I probably said her last name wrong, but that's how I say it. It is a YA fantasy series that explores a sort of dystopian community where people are divided by class, and there's like a class of like people who are the reds, like their blood is red, and then there's a higher class of people whose blood bleeds silver.
Oh, so not blue.
Yeah,
she threw me for a loop there. Okay.
So they're like the silvers, so they're like higher than the reds or whatever. Anyways, and various things happen, and there's war and turmoil and love and loss and mystery and an intrigue and magical powers, and it was good, y'all. I was very into it and cannot wait to get done with the second one and just make my way along. So the Red Queen.
So let me ask you, because I've heard about this. I've seen people on YouTube review it, like booktubers or whatever. If you were going to compare it to some of the things I do love, where would it sit as far as like on the Patrick Rothfuss being a 10, Brandon Sanderson being an 8? Or so.
Wait.
Or 9.
Are these getting low? You think Patrick Rothfuss is a better writer than Brandon Sanderson?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Do you not think that?
I don't know.
Oh,
it's a big question to answer.
No, I think, what's the name of the King Killer Chronicles?
Yeah.
I think that is the best fantasy book I've read in like a decade.
Oh,
like,
damn.
I think it is marvelous.
I agree.
That's my personal opinion. So I'm like a 10 and maybe an 8 with Brandon Sanderson because he's up and down for me. Where would you put this series?
The problem with the scale that you're giving me right now is that those people are writing at a completely different caliber than trash YA fantasy. So I think if we put like a J.K. Rowling at like a 10 for like the top of like this is the best that YA fantasy can possibly get. Get? Do you get it? Why would you do this to us?
Oh, why?
Mamma mia. You know what I mean, though? Like, that's generally the standard.
Okay.
So we've got a J.K. Rowling, what might be like at a 5.
What about that, maybe a 6, but that Alchemy series you introduced me to was so good.
The Michael Scott?
No, Alchemy, about the two siblings.
Twins? Yeah.
Is it Michael Scott? It is.
Secrets of them. Okay.
Immortal Nicholas Flamel.
So you put that at like a 6?
A 6 or 7. I liked it.
I put this at like a 6 or 7 as far as like quality of writing.
Okay.
As far as like uniqueness. I think it's lower down on the scale. I think she's borrowing heavily from just fantasy tropes that already exist. I found it extremely predictable. I think halfway into this novel, I could tell you the ending of every single character, and I nailed that.
Okay.
So, like, it was predictable for a person who's read a lot of fantasy, but I think that the writing was good. In fact, I tried to read Red Rising, another series written by a man, starring a man. Also, this had a female lead, so you know I'm a little biased there.
Sure.
But Red Rising had a insanely similar concept. It was like this class of people, and they were the red class, and they were trying to find a person to implement and like help bring peace to the classes and raise everyone to be on the same level or whatever. They were looking for basically their white savior, but he's their red savior, which is a little bit what happens in Red Queen. I couldn't get through Red Rising. Like, it wasn't for me. And that's a really well-loved fantasy series that I just didn't care for. And this is a version of something like that. It's a really similar concept, except I liked it.
Interesting. Okay. So it sounds like I would probably like it.
Yeah, but it
maybe
is really
I shouldn't
tropey. It's really
maybe shouldn't
tropey.
run out and like immediately buy the hardcover.
Sure, it's not like, oh my god, there's never been a book like this.
Okay.
It's not that.
Yeah.
But it does have like all my favorite fantasy tropes built into it, so it was a quick and enjoyable read.
Okay.
Yeah.
Red Queen. Red
Yeah.
Queen. Okay. Well, I think my plug this week, I think I've actually plugged before.
Do it again, girl.
Okay. Well, the reason I'm plugging it this week is because Natasha Lyonne is part of this show, but I am mildly obsessed with Big Mouth, which is an animated show about teenagers that's on Netflix.
People love this show.
Listen to this lineup, okay? This is not even the full cast, okay? Nick Kroll, John Mulaney, Fred Armisen, Jason Mantzoukas, Jordan Peele, Maya Rudolph, Jenny Slate, Andrew Reynolds, and Natasha Lyonne. It's amazing.
That's a shit ton of great people.
I literally like every single one of those people as far as comedians. And they actually just came out around Valentine's Day with a Valentine's Day special that I think was a bit longer than normal episode, but there are also 2 seasons, I believe, on Netflix. And it's animated, but it's an adult show. Okay, it's not for kids. But I would, right? But I would really recommend it. It's so fucking funny. If you like coming of age stories, it's very much, it's about kids and their hormone monster, which is their hormones, and how they interact with sort of like, I think they're in like 7th or 8th grade. I don't know. And they're sort of blossoming manhood and womanhood and how their hormones play into their decisions. It's kind of gross out humor. When you hear names like Nick Kroll and Jason Mantzoukas, you kind of know what you're in for if you've ever seen The League or anything similar.
They dirty.
They are dirty and gross, but they're also fucking hilarious and really smart for as juvenile as their humor is sometimes. I think it's a really good show, and Maya Rudolph is a standout as the female hormone monster.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that is currently on Netflix, 2 seasons and a special, Valentine's Day special.
Love it. Well, be sure to check out those things for sure, in case you need all the pop culture, which we know you do. We're finally emerging out of this winter wasteland, so hopefully you'll get some sunshine, but we'll see. And in the meantime, scroll through your phone, and while you're on there, give us a 5-star rating.
Why not? You're already halfway there.
Like, dude, you're already listening to this podcast. Just tell us how much you love it. And if you don't love it, don't tell us. We're fragile.
Yeah, don't keep it to yourself.
That.
Don't be coming on there and giving no 3 and 4-star reviews.
Girls,
just put your phone down.
Save it for Pop Culture Happy Hour.
You've given enough opinions today. But they can also find us and like us on YouTube, right?
We have there. Every episode on YouTube.
Now, Morgan.
Okay, except for that one episode.
That one.
One of them just didn't make it there.
It just disappeared.
And we never said we were tech savvy.
No.
And we won't be.
No. I've never sworn to that.
But we have more than just our podcast on there.
We've also got our Let's Play, or no, what I call it? Let's Queer Witcher 3, which is 40 videos of me playing Witcher 3, which is a really fabulous video game. If you're not familiar with the game and you want to spend about 40 hours in a fantasy world with me, please come play. I will tell you, I didn't finish the entire game, but anyone who knows Witcher 3, that is like I don't
It's a whole lot.
It's like 120 hours or something ridiculous. And I'm not going to lie to y'all, it became a whole lot of work. So, but if you want me to start it up again or start a different one, the first thing you need to do is watch the series.
Yes, watch it.
And then I'll be like, oh, we're getting views. And then I'll, of course, continue. But
well, duh.
So
check that out, and also follow us on all the social medias at B&B Cast. We're hanging around, we're doing our thing, living our lives, and we would love to integrate you into that. All right.
Bye, beanies.
We love you. Bye, bye.
Maury, I'm going to kill you so you can star in a show. Here it comes.
Wait. No.
Do you have a home? Beauty in the Bed.
You
look. Beauty in the Bed.
Beauty in the Bed.
You're
Bye.